Hello, everybody. It is May. I think it's the 9th or the 10th. It's the 10th. Sorry. It was a nice Saturday. Mostly sleeping and playing games with my wife, which I'm really happy about. Doing some video editing, that kind of stuff. It's nice to have a good weekend. Tomorrow, I think, is Mother's Day. So, happy Mother's Day to all your mothers. Anyway, today I want to talk about perception. And to start with, I wanted to use an example. Okay, this is just a crude example, but it's often known as the ink blot test, or the Rorschach, whatever test, named after the creator of it. This test was used for a while, and we often see it sometimes in media. The concept, the idea was that you could learn something about the person's personality based on what images they saw in these ink blots. So, do they see a bunny or a duck? Or do they see a woman dancing? Or do they see a vase? Or two people facing each other? Something like that. Mind you, those aren't exactly, but that's the kind of concepts. There was just one problem. It really didn't work. Not the way that they thought. That's because there's two different kinds of perception. The first kind is brain perception. So your brain gets all this different information, and then it takes it, figures out what it is, and then that's what you perceive. So a good example is you see something out of the corner of your eye, and you look towards it, and when you actually look at it, it looks like something else than it did when it was in your peripheral vision. This is an example of the data your brain has. Your data, the data in which your brain had was much more limited when you weren't looking at it straight away. And then when you looked at it straight away, your brain was able to get better data. This involves both mental imagery, or not mental imagery, but what you see through your eyes, what you hear, what you feel, what you smell, basically all your senses, I guess. They're your brain's interpretation of the information. It's very different than your personal perception. Your personal perception of the world is your view and idea of it, your interpretation of it. So, for instance, you see a dog walking down the street, and you might say to yourself, wow, there's a lot of dogs walking down the street all the time. That's an example of your perception. You are creating an idea of what you're seeing. You're interpreting it. These two things are extremely different, and yet they are connected. And I am no expert to say whether there's a certain level of especially mental health, where the lines blur. But the idea that there's a distinct difference between our beliefs and our observations of the world. The reason why it's important to know the difference between that is because we often kind of lump them together in terms of our control and our idea of everything that's going on. It's like the classic. You hear something in the middle of the night, and you simply but you don't know what it is. So you assume that you misheard, or you imagined it. Well, that's not necessarily the case. You could legitimately have heard something even if you don't know what caused the sound. You're not crazy, right? The same with seeing things. Just because you didn't recognize what you saw or didn't see doesn't mean you didn't see it. It just means that it might have not been what you thought it was. Or that you didn't see it, in time or whatever. Don't think you're crazy. Your brain's just interpreting the world. Okay. Have a nice day. Bye. Hopefully the battery isn't going to die.